at 10 a.m. I'd also like at this time for a moment of silence for John Shady, to keep him in your prayers. So we'll just give it a moment. Thank you. Call to order, please.
Mr. Kempe?
Here.
Mr. Rodehaver?
Here.
Mrs. Wasty?
Here, I'd like to acknowledge our visitors. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Did everybody go over them? And are there any additions or changes? If not, they are as they are. First item of business, termination of current entry-level police officer list.
Pardon me.
Chief, the floor is yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So the entry-level process that kicked off a few weeks ago only drew 6 applicants that successfully completed the test, the application process. Out of those 6, 2 withdrew themselves. They either got other jobs or were no longer interested. We have job offers out to 2, and we have picked starting dates. And then the other 2 were not optimal employees, and we have excluded them for cause. So the list is done, and it should be terminated.
Okay. And you have started the lateral process now?
We advertised, we accepted applications. We have not started reviewing those applications until this list is terminated, but we do have applications lateral in the barrel.
Can you let us know how many?
I don't. So I know that they came in, but we haven't checked to actually see if I haven't looked at them.
Okay.
We haven't actually see if they're qualified, if they meet the criteria, if they'll meet the criteria by the appointment date, whatever that is. So I don't know the number even.
Okay.
So
Okay. Anything else?
no, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to terminate the current entry-level police officers list?
I move that the current entry-level police officer list be terminated. Second.
And a roll.
Mr. Kempe?
Yes?
Mr. Rodehaver?
Yes.
Mrs. Wasty?
Yes. Any other business? Okay.
So just to let you guys know, we are moving forward with the assessment test. We're hoping to give that in the next week or 2. I'm new to this, so my question would be, since just trying to shorten the process, am I allowed to give the assessment test and then go ahead, since it's not a new hire, go ahead and give the interviews and bring the scores from the assessment and the interviews back to you guys to approve in June? Or do I need to wait? I mean, in May, right? May.
Right.
Or do I need to wait till May to have the assessment approved and then after that move on to the interviews?
What do the rules state?
That's what I'm wondering. For some reason, I don't remember them having to come back. I mean,
Is there any way we can find that out?
I think it's been in the past, we've had the certification and release of the scores after the first exam,
and then the next one.
and then the
that's-
next, with the assessment combined, release and certify that, and then they would go to the interview, and then,
Right, because.
yeah, that's,
Because how many people do you have up for this promotion?
For the operator 1 is 4, and for the operator 2 is 3.
Because regardless of the scores, we would probably release all 4 names for the interview process. Yeah, I would feel safer if you brought back after the assessment the scores in
Okay.
May,
Okay.
and then do the interviews right after that.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to touch base with that, make sure that that was how we wanted to do things or how that was done.
Yeah, I just want to cover our bases. I
Okay.
don't want another faux pas.
Okay.
The meeting would be May 4th. So then, once they approve that, then you could start interviewing May 5th. After that assessment, then they don't approve anything else.
We don't approve anything else.
No, correct, yeah. So,
Correct.
so if you interview May 5th, everybody on May 5th, and then you hire somebody on May 8th. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's, once they do that second certify and release, then they're done.
Because usually what it is they can't proceed unless they have a passing score. So let's say, right now, all of them have passed the test. But they go into the interview and they absolutely, don't pass it. Somebody doesn't pass it, they can't go on to the interview. But at this point, I don't see any of them doing that. Unless they're having a really, really bad day.
Our assessments don't have pass-fails, it's just a numeric score, and sometimes that numeric score is lower than, because they're supposed to be low. The police OACP scores are generally low, so we've had very good assessment scores in the 60s before.
Okay.
So it's just a numeric value that you certify, right?
Yeah, it just kind of gives you an idea on, do they know the equipment that you've got out in front of them, or have they been skating through the whole time?
Yeah, so I did change it this time to more of a scenario-based versus like piece of equipment, because I feel like that gets outdated. So now, since it is moving up into the operator's position, more responsibility, it's more testing them on how they would handle certain situation as an operator versus how much fuel does this chainsaw hold. I think it's going to benefit us as a department as a whole, figuring out not only can they do the job, but are they able to make the decisions that need to be made if the supervisor's not around.
Yeah, you're testing their leadership skills.
Yes, along with knowledge of the jobs and certain jobs.
Okay.
So,
Anything?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to bring up, and I don't know if we need to do this in executive session, but I would like to get some feedback. However, is there any way we can expedite anything? Because since I've been on this board, it has occurred to me that everything is in slow motion, and it's not fair. These gentlemen or anyone else that we serve, or the community we serve, in order to get the personnel that they need in a timely manner.
From what I've known, serving on this board, we have to follow the rules, not only of our rules, but of the ORC. Some of those we have worked our way around. Some of them you cannot. And they were put in place so that all hiring was on a fair basis to anyone and everyone who applies. I believe step by step is done so that the rules can't be overlooked to get somebody in. Now, I know somewhere in, they can hire a temporary individual. I'm not sure if that's at the state level. I don't believe it's in our rules, but it could only be like for 6 months. If that's the case, we might as well go through our hiring process. I know we need people, and I believe right now the problem isn't the process. I believe it's the times that we live in. People don't want to be police officers. They don't want to be firefighters or paramedics, because I believe it's because of all the controversy in the last number of years. So no matter how we try to expedite our process, I question whether we're going to get the qualified people we're looking for.
Well, with that being said, just an example for today, I mean, they've exhausted the list, and then they have to come to us and wait a certain amount of time in order for us to say, well, we're gonna kill the list, and yep, you can go ahead and go forward with your next step. There is a huge time delay there.
We may not be able to easily change in-place processes and steps. However, there may be a substantial amount of slack time between those steps that we can shorten. Right? We don't need to wait a month for us to say hello if we could all get together and say hello in a week. I don't know what requirements we have, whether or not we can meet more frequently or on a required, I don't know what those are, but perhaps that's one place where we can pick up our response time. It won't solve the problem, but it might mitigate our situation. Worthy of at least investigation, I think.
You know, we can meet on demand. That's what it once was until all of this started happening. And then we set it definitely once a month. With a board of just 3, I think it's, if we can call an impromptu meeting and everybody can show up for 5 minutes to terminate a list or approve, great. But if one person doesn't show, it's for naught. So, you know, we can try it, that when something comes up that is of importance that we need to get moving on it, Amy can contact us and see if we can't come up with 5-10 minutes to get together and have a quick meeting. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, but all our meetings are open. I do not believe we advertise them. We do. I'm not sure if there is an amount of time that they have to be advertised.
24 hours.
Okay,
Piece of cake.
that's not that hard. That, you know,
And that's where I was alluding to, is that, pardon me, you know, the board that we serve on, for these departments are critical.
yes,
I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, I know. They're critical to the city and how the city operates, and its safety and so on and so forth. So I think at some point we are doing them a disservice by not expediting in some manner or way to get them the personnel, and that would reduce a lot of headache and overhead. That's why I brought it up.
I'm okay with the fact next time a situation arises that we need to move quicker, if we could get together, but that's the thing with 3 people. No quorum, no meeting. But I'm pretty flexible.
As my,
So far, I am too.
Okay. Anything else? Any other business? Any questions, additions? Meeting adjourned at 10:14.